जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। जब चारों तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का दूर किनारा हो। जब चारों तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का दूर किनारा हो। जब कोई न केवल हारा हो, जब कोई न केवल हारा हो, तब तू ही बेड़ा पार करे, तब तू ही बेड़ा पार करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे। तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे। पूरन कर दे उनकी आशा, पूरन कर दे उनकी आशा। जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे, जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे।
श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। भवानी शंकर भगवान की जय। ओम नमश्चंदिकाय श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव। सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्र प्रचोदयात्। श्री राम राम रघुनंदन राम राम। श्री राम राम भरताग्रज राम राम। श्री राम राम रणकर्कश राम राम। श्री राम राम शरणं भव राम राम। अतुलित बलधामं हेमशैलाबदेहं धनुजवन कृशानुं ज्ञानिनां मृगगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। वंशी विभूषित कराननवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्ब फलधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दु सुंदर मुखारविंद्रनेत्र कृष्णात् पदं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः। गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बोले श्री भवानी शंकर भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। जगदम्बिका माता की जय। बाल कृष्ण लाल की जय। श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद
जय जय गोपाल जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। बोले श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। Sitaram everyone. On behalf of Bhavani Shankar Mandir, we'd like to welcome all of you to the second recital, the second night of recitation of Sri Garud Puran. Welcome to all of you in the temple. Nice to see you this evening. And of course, everybody online who are viewing from many parts of the world, welcome as well. Last night, we spoke in depth about debt and some aspects of it. Tonight we will continue from where we left off. Before that, we would like to thank and acknowledge our sponsors this evening. Our sponsors are virtual and in person. Our in-person family this evening is a family who has always, every single year, been sponsors for Garud Puran. They show tremendous honor and gratitude to their pitris. And that is Bhai Omkar and Darshani and their family. Today they're giving thanks and gratitude to their ancestors, to their pitris, who they care for and who they pray for. And quite often they do this. We ask and pray that may their pitris attain bliss in the home of Bhagwan. Bhaiji Omkar, in memory of his dearest mom, Dhano, his dad, Sigopal, his brother Tyrone and Sudin, Nana, Nani, Aja and Aji, may their Atma attain mukti and become one with the divine, and may the blessings be upon him and his family. And Darshani, on behalf of our dearest father, Rautu Prasad, giving thanks and gratitude, and may Bhagwan bless his Atma as well. This morning they performed Pinda ceremonies outside, very early in the morning, Tarpan ceremony. puja to Shri Krishna, and now they're here again, giving thanks. You can see their loving pitris, their pictures are here. It's a great way. And we'll tell you this evening, where did this come from? The picture. What does it mean? So Bhagwan's blessings on all of them. And thank you always for being our shrotas this time of the year, and others as well. The next sponsor virtually. In memory of our dearest departed grandparents, our mom and dad, our brothers Deopal, Inardeo, Lakshman, Mohan, and Lokanath, our nephews Robin and Ken, and our sister-in-law Radhika. Although you are no longer with us, we shall always cherish the memories you shared with us. May Bhagwan Shri Krishna grant each of you everlasting peace and blessings, and always watch over you. We love you and miss you for all eternity, from the entire Devgati, Narayan, and extended families. And this, of course, is in memory of our loved ones from the entire Devgati, Narayan, and extended families, sharing love and thoughts and prayers for their beloved ones who have passed on. May all of their Atma, of course, attain mukti with the divine. These are families who are close to our temple, our congregation, and we pray with them as well as they remember their beloved ones, especially during this time. In memory of Prakash Mulchan and Jagat Ramprasad. Today, in memory of my dad, Prakash Mulchan, and my Nana, Jagat Ramprasad, please continue to shower your blessings and guidance from Lakshman Mulchand. And our prayers are with you as well, Bhaji Lakshman Mulchand and your family, as you remember your pitris on this very blessed day. And finally, this evening, we have 4 sponsors in memory of Auntie Chan and Dev Singh. In this auspicious period of Pitripaksh, we reflect on all the beautiful memories we made with all of the best, with one of the best mother in the world, Auntie Chan, who departed this human body on May 20th, 2020. And one of a kind son, Dev Singh, on June 30th, 2019. We pray that their Atma become one with Paramatma. You will forever be in our hearts. Love you always, Vic, Tara, and the entire family. Auntie Chan is, of course, a very well-known woman in our community. She's a mother of our community. And Tara is here this evening, her daughter. And from the entire family, we extend prayers and strength always. Never it is easy to lose someone, much less to grieve for them. And of course, Dave, whom we lost in 2019, our prayers with Tara as well and her entire family as they continue to find strength at the feet of Bhagwan for their losses. As wonderfully written, may their Atma become one with Paramatma. And those are the 4 families who dedicated this evening in behalf of their loving ones. Prem se bolo Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. So we go straight into Garud Puran this evening. Where did we leave off last night? We talked about giving. That is where we left off. Giving, giving, giving. And I touched particularly on what to give and when to give. And I know some of you in person were not here, but you probably were listening, as many are this evening as well, on our live broadcast. And we talked about giving. Giving is not a bribe. Giving is not to cleanse your guilt. Giving is not to make up for what you have lost in life. That is not the purpose of giving. Giving is not to allow the Atma of those who have passed away to gain mukti, because in that case, everyone will be in heaven enjoying bliss. And that's not the case. If that was the case, we would live a careless life. And then when someone dies, just give some ambulance slippers and we cleanse our hands. That's not the case. Giving must be done when we are alive. Giving must be done to those who need. Giving must be done with the intent to purify your karma. Giving must be done to empty a little bit of what you have, to relieve yourself from what you have and let others enjoy that in the process. That is the process of giving. We talked about the importance of giving food last night as well. Many things we talked about. What we talked about last night, the shloka where we left off, was Lavanam cha tada deyam dwarasyodhadakam divaha yani kani cha danani swayam datani manave. Whatever gifts a man has given in his life, what happens? They all stand in his favor at the time of death. And when I say when a man, I'm talking about Homo sapiens, all forms of life, man and woman. Whatever you've given during your life, that stands in your favor at the time of death, to allow the Atma to have final release from the body and to become one with Paramatma. Now, Bhagwan told us, Garudji last night, what to give and all that. He said, Ki papani bhasmasatwana sarvalokam mahiyate amritam ta tadagavam shivam yata padagyatam. O noble bird, since Gaumata, since the cow's milk is called nectar, cow's milk is called Gaumata ki aushadhi hai, Gaumata ki amrit hai. Please don't let anyone tell you it is a sin to drink milk. Do you understand that? Don't let anyone tell you it's a sin to drink milk. It is not a sin to drink milk. And I know there is a certain movement happening these days where they're discouraging you from drinking milk. And so that's different, because it is the way the milk is extracted from the animals in a cruel way, in North America at least, but back home it is done in a very humane way. North America, the breast of the cow is being massaged, as they pull. Have you ever milked? Everybody has ever milk a cow? By Onkar, you milk a cow? You milk cow? Good. Auntie Kamal, you milk cow? Raj, you milk cow? You from Creek? Oh? Oh. If Dara, you milk cow? There we go. All them Creek person, Barbicians and so on, we milk cow. As long as you're it's a very nice experience. You milk the cow, and sometimes if you want to test your skills, you have to milk the cow in a drinks bottle. That's test your skills if you're doing it the right way. And it is actually nice for the cow. It massages the udder and everything. We know that stuff. In different parts of the world, they do it very differently, in an inhumane way. And that is why we have the movement to not drink blood milk, as they call it. And that's a whole different discussion. But cow's milk is Gaumata ki aushadhi hai. It is mother's amrit. Mother cow's amrit. The gift of a cow in life. Every Hindu should, do something where, in other faith, it's a requirement to go to Hajj. If you're a Muslim, it's a requirement to go to Hajj. In our faith, there are basic requirements as a Hindu. Before you leave this earth, minimum things you should do, at least visit Ganga Mata once and take her bath. So, okay, we can't afford it. We live in remote parts of the world, so we can't afford that. Well, do small things. And one of the things we can do, at least once in your life, is give the gift of cow. Gaudanam is Mahadanam, because what? Gau is Mata. The cow's milk, right? Everything that comes out of the cow is medicinal for human beings. Everything. The cow's urine is medicine. The cow dung, that's paint. You paint your bottom house with cow dung, or you dab your bottom house. You purify the place, right? The cow's milk is aushadhi. It is medicine, right? So, Gau is mata. It nurtures a person. It nurtures a person. The gift of cow is the gift of life. And, O noble bird, Bhagwan Vishnu says, since the cow's milk is nectar, Whoever gives a cow attains immortality. This is Bhagwan Shri Krishna telling Garud this in the Garud Puran. And we talked about this last night, whatever you gift and so on. Dhanam is very important in life. If he gives food and a seat, he attains sitting comfortably on its way to heaven. If he gives water, feels comfortable even in waterless regions. He who gives clothes and ornaments liberally is not tortured by the fierce messengers of Yama. So we talked about all of that last night. We talked about the meaning of the kush grass. We talked about the meaning of the black till and so on. So tonight we go. Now somebody has died. Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Garudji, Ki Garud, now I'm going to tell you, Gata pranam tato gyatva syatva putra dirashutam shavam jalena shuddhena shalayedi vicharayan. So Garudji says, Prabhu, that's very nice, all that's good, thank you very much. Tell me now, a person dies. What happens at that point when a person dies? So tonight we're going to talk about all that. The funeral ceremony, what before, after, 10-day ceremonies, what to do, what not to do, who shall do it, all of that we will talk about tonight. The funeral is an extremely important part in your life. It's very, very important. So we talk about that tonight, and that's where we start. जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान
गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान
हो जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान
गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान
हो जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण ओ जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान
गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान
परिध्यासनहानेन चंदनो प्रोक्ष सेवितं ततो सुत्तामस्थाने वे एको दृष्टां समाचरेन् प्रयोगुष्टां वधातेन योरताधीर्यथा भवेत् आसनं प्रोक्षणं यस्त्र स्यानधावानतोष्टितम् जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण ओ जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण ओ जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान ओ गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान. Guruji says, Prabhu, tell me, when a person dies, what is it that we should do? Well, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, Guruji, there are rules for everything here. There are rules for everything. When a person dies, what do? The first thing you probably do is call the police or the authorities and so on. And that is so. You should do that. That is required depending on where you're living. There are different procedures for that. Let's talk about the Hindu way of doing things. What the Hindu does after the legal procedures are in place, they take the body or wherever it is. The very first thing you do is you call your who? You call your who? Auntie? Very good. You call your Panditji. And that is why it is very important, just like when you have a little cough or a cold or a sneeze or something that's bothering you, the first person who you call is who? Your doctor, or it should be your doctor. You understand? If you have a health matter, you talk to your doctor, not the doctors in the community who will tell you to do this and everything, but a doctor, a medical doctor. You call the doctor and you say, I have this problem. They advise you. You have a family doctor. When you have a financial concern, your taxes are not in order, you got a letter from the government. Who do you call? Your accountant. You call your accountant. I have a problem. It's not my problem, it's yours. You take care of it, right? You got a legal matter. Who do you call? Your lawyer. You call your lawyer and say, this is the problem I have, you take care of it. Similarly, when you have a religious or a spiritual issue and you need help, you call your Panditji, which is your family Panditji. Very important for every family to have a family priest. This is our tradition. Bhagwan Sri Ram, his family Guru Vashishta. They wake up in the morning, Pratakal Uthay Raghunata, Guru Pitumatu Bachan Anuraga. He will go to his parents and his Guru to bow. Anything questioned spiritually, any pujas, any rituals the king will have a question on, he'd go to the Guru. This is our tradition, right? You got a family priest. They understand how your father used to worship, how your mother used to worship. They understand how your nana and nani used to worship. They understand how your parnana and paraja used to worship. You understand? They understand all of that, so they bring all of that knowledge down to you and to tell you that because I'm your family priest, I know the intricacies of worship, I can help you. First thing you do, call your family priest. And what do? You tell them you have a debt in the family. They will express condolences, usual stuff, thoughts and prayers. And then what happens? Panditji has to do one very important thing when you provide the time of death. And that is to check whether the person has died in Panchak or not. I will talk about Panchak now. If a person has died in Panchak, what happens? Garud Puran tells us that Vasranayati kritam kritva dahayedhupa punyakam gatastvam panchako dahin vidhim vaschim shrinu mare Ado kritvam dhanishtayam mitritakshachna panchakam revatyam sadadhushtam ashubham sarvada bhavet. What is Panchak? There are 5 planets. By the way, in our Hindu month, in the Hindu constellations, there are 27 constellations. Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, and so on and so on. Every day there is a planet present. That is how you're given a name under the planet. My planet is Punarvasu Nachatra, which means it comes out with Ha. Panditji says, Ha, you find a name for that, Hardat. Similarly, when you die under a planet. And there are 5 planets that are called Panchak, which means they are inauspicious for death. They are not inauspicious for anything else but death. These planets, they start from Dhanishta to Revati. So there are 5 in their name. The Panditji checks the timing, and based on the existing of the planets, he'll tell you no Panchak or yes Panchak. But if a person dies on Panchak, the 5 constellations from Dhanishta to Revati, they are always inauspicious for death. Should cremation be done in Panchak? This is the big question. Somebody dies in Panchak, what happens? Your opinion is okay, but what does the book say? Dahasyanam takartavyo vishada sarvajantusho. Garud Puran tells us that cremation should not be done on these days. Cremation should not be done on days of Panchak. Now this is surprising to a lot of people because, you do cremation anytime. Well, you should avoid, if you can, when I say if you can, because depending on the place you're living in, maybe the funeral home and so on is not available, but the book says, avoid doing cremation on Panchak. Avoid it. It is torturous to all creatures. Water offering with his tilanjali should not be done for these days. All rites, panchakanantaram sarvam karya karyanta manyata. All the rites for funeral, cremation, should be done after Panchak is over. So if Panchak is 5 days usually, if somebody dies on the starting of Panchak, you should, or the Panditji should recommend that let Panchak expire, let it pass, and then we'll do the cremation. Then we'll do the cremation. Now, if Panchak is passed and you're doing the cremation, but that time it is not Panchak now, the 5th day has gone, do you do Panchak Shanti Puja? Of course you do Panchak Shanti Puja, because you died in Panchak. You died. This is very important for you to know, especially the young people. I know the older folks may have heard about this and so on. It's a bit of a technical thing, which a priest alone knows, but you as a Hindu should know these general things to help other Hindus. Not confuse them, but to help them. As much as possible, avoid Panchak avoid cremation during Panchak. All rites should be avoided and all rites should be performed rather after the Panchak is over. Now what happens if you do it during Panchak? Putranam gotrinam tasya santapayogo dajayate. If done otherwise, sons and close relatives are affected. They are affected thereby. They don't say what is going to happen. Long ago, they used to tell you 5 people in the village will expire. Expire me? Exactly. Good. Long ago, they used to tell you that 5 people will expire. Well, Garud Puran says affected, right? It will be affected. If one dies during these constellations, cremation is performed during this period, the family suffers tremendously. This is what the book is saying, right? It's not, I don't preach dogma and tell people, nonsense. This is what the book is saying. Cremation is harmless during the following Panchak, of course. Brahmanas should perform sacrifices and all that. After the Panchak is over and cremation is now happening, how should it be done? The book tells us, Garud Puranji tells us, Shavasthanam isteyetu kshepatavya palasthalah dharvasvalucha shatvara trayakshamatri bhiyantritaha. Close to the place of the corpse, 5 effigies made of kush grass, darbha, the book says, Shavasthanam dharvyebhyo. 5 effigies are made. Or long ago they used to tell you, make 5 dali. You know what dali? It means doll. Dali. You make 5 dolls with the kush grass. Sometimes they make it with cotton and things like that, but the kush grass is always present there. They make 5 effigies, which means, the 5 doll with the grass. And then you have the Panchak Shanti Puja. The skilled Panditji will perform Panchak Shanti Puja on all of them. What are the 5 effigies? They represent the 5 constellations, the 5 planets, right? You do puja unto them and you ask them to appease, to be in peace, to not harm the Atma and to not harm anyone else. That's called Panchak Shanti Puja. It is a very, very, very technical work to be done. Very technical work to be done. For this reason, I can never understand and I will never understand why when a cremation puja is being done by a Panditji, at that point in time, while it is happening, you have singing happening. I will never understand that. Because you can't grasp anything. I don't know if they gotta hear anything. I mean, what are they gonna hear? Right? It is something in general that we do not encourage. While singing, if singing is happening, let singing happen. You sing till your belly full. When you finish singing, I'm going to do my puja. That is my principle that I practice Panditai with. You know why? Because when mantras are chanted, the purpose of the mantra is not to just get by like this. The purpose of the mantra is to create a vibration so that those who are there, they're pacified, so that the environment supports that puja that is being done, right? The person who's performing the puja, if singing is happening, whether it's a Satyanarayan Katha or Jandi or funeral, they need to listen to the mantras from the Pandit's mouth and let the mantras, satiate them, quench their thirst of devotion. And then they do their things. Otherwise than that, it's a mechanical process. You hear Dhoom Dham in the background, they're singing bhajan and they're doing things, and Panditji is just putting things. So I'm not criticizing, I'm saying how it should be done. That's why I don't understand this. So, Panchak Shanti Puja is very technical. The Panditji performs it, and then what happens? They place the 5 effigies into the pyre, or in this case, in the casket, and it is burnt with the body, right? Panchak Shanti. The Brahmanas and so on, they are satisfied, and Yam Stuti is chanted as well in Panchak Shanti Puja. So that is what Panchak is. Please avoid at all times doing a cremation during Panchak. Now, there are times, why are people doing cremation in Panchak? Why are people doing it? Because everybody is in a hurry. You go to Guyana, you leave your job in the States and Canada and England, and so you go to Guyana, you want everything samhari quick. So you go tell the Panditji, listen, can we, samhari everything in one quick, and I got to go back to work. And then what happens? Everything is done. In a case of Panchak or Wakinchak, everything is done. So you have to be careful with these things. Educate yourself, Hindus. I'm going to make you laugh a little bit this evening because that is what you need to do. You need to be joyful about learning and accept it. What happens now if you get the news? You get the news that this has happened. The Panditji sets a date. And what happened? The arrangements for cremation. Last night I told you the corpse, the body should be placed on what kind of grass? Razor grass? What kind of grass? Kush grass. In the Sanskrit it's called darbha. Darbha, not doob. Darbha. Doob grass is different grass. Darbha or kush grass. The kush grass, kush male stito brahma, kush made janardanam, kushagri shankaro devanam, kushrajan namostupe. It is the king of all grasses, the kush grass. It is placed beneath the body goes upon it. That is how the body is kept, right? So you put on kush grass. Then, at the funeral ceremony, Bhagwan Vishnu says, this should never be done. He's telling Garudji, the following should never be done. Avahanarchane chaiva patra lambha gahane bhavehanatra sankalpa pindadanam sada bhavet. There are some key things that are done in pujas but are never done at a funeral ceremony. What are they? One, swasti vachana. Swastina indro vridhashrava swastina pusha vishwaveda. Never chanted at a funeral. Why? It is mangalam. Those are mangal mantras. They are auspicious mantras for auspicious event. Mantra Shastra, there is a particular field in the priesthood that teaches us when to chant which mantras where. Swasti Vachan is never chanted at a funeral ceremony. What else is never done at a funeral ceremony? Purna Ganesh Puja. You never do a full Ganesh Puja at a funeral. Never. You can do Vakratunna Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva. Ganesh Avahanam is done because Ganapati is Mangalam. His worship is auspicious. And at a funeral, you can never have that done. Invocation is good. At a funeral ceremony, there is no archana done as well. There is no archana. Shambhave Nama, Shivaya Nama, Vishnave. There is nothing like that done. This is a bit of things that you teach in the Pandit school, but I'm giving you that information as well, so that you understand what you are doing. The following should not be done, undertaking, which is Avahanam, Archanam, Pralambha, and Arghana, which we talk about. No Mangalam, Mangalam, Bhagavan Vishnu, Mangalam, Garudadvaja, nothing like that is chanted at a funeral. Even the mantras that are chanted, to put on the chandan, on the pindas are not the same mantras as you chant for the god. Chandanastu mahat punyam bhavitram papanashanam. That is not what you chant when you do pinda. When you do funeral ceremonies, when you do puja, you say samarpayami, chandanam samarpayami. But when you do the funeral ceremony, you say chandanam tavo patishtatam. Tavo patishtatam. A little bit of steps in the technical side. Then what happens now? Pinda ceremony starts. The Garud Puran tells us there are 6 pindas that are prepared. The procedure laid down for the 6 shraddhas. Why 6 pindas? The 6 pindas technically should be done at 6 different places. This is not at all practical in the day that we live in. So don't ever try to implement this. It is not practical at all. But I'll tell you why. The 6 pindas are laid down for 6 shraddh at 6 places. What are those places? Esha edastu vidhi proktam shraddheshu manileshu to shadeva maranasthano dware chatvari ke tatha vishramo kashta chayane tatha sanchayate khaga mriti sthane shavo nama bhumi stashyati devatah. One pinda is done at the place of death where the person died. This is a funeral ceremony in the Puranic times used to take days to complete. Because when a person died, they'd go to one pinda there. Right? The first is the place of death. The second at the door. The third at the crossroad. The fourth at the place of resting. The 5th at the wood pile. And the 6th is when you're collecting the ash. 6 pindas are done at different places. Now, why is this done? The dead body, the corpse, is called Shava at the place of death. The deity Earth is pleased. When you perform the pinda where the person died, Mata Earth, Bhumata, she feels pleased and grant, blessings to the Atma and takes back her portion that she has given the body. The body is made up of how many elements? 5 elements plus the 6th element called mana, the mind. So when you perform the pindas at these 5 different places, you give back the body to the 5 elements. Ramayana tells us, Raja Bali, last night I mentioned it, Chitta Jala Pavan Gagana Sharira. The body is made up of 5 elements. It all came from the universe. Therefore, when death happens, you are returning the body to the 5 elements. Go back to your source. And the last pinda is done when you're picking up the ash, which is done like places like Guyana and India and Trinidad and so. Canada, you cannot do that when you're picking up the ash. Because here, when you pick up the ash, you're getting a box. You're getting a box, and inside there is a plastic tied very tightly. That's what you're getting. You cannot do pinda here. So what we do, this is a general practice. On the day of the cremation, you do the 6 pinda as well. That is an acceptable practice in Canada, United States, and wherever cremations are done like this. Remember, you practice your dharma based on deshriti, based on the country you live in, kalriti, the time, kuluriti, your lineage, and so on. So the 6 pindas represent the 6th pinda represent the mind, and when you perform the 6th pinda, you return the body with dignity to all the 6 elements. To all the 6 elements. Around the pyre, what happens? Around the pyre, holding the gingerly seed, which is the Tilanjali, Tiladharba grite ghamsin grihitva tu sudhadayaha gatham yamasya suktam vadyadhiyana varjanihim. What is chanted? On that day, the Yam Stuti is chanted. You do not chant, remember the Mangal mantras and so on. You chant the Yam Stuti, very, very different prayers. We chanted them this morning. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, all those who come to do Tilanjali here will chant Yam Stuti as well. You will witness it. You will listen to it. This is what is chanted. So all of that is done. Then it should be laid, the corpse is placed on the pyre, and then what happens? Kravyadev is invoked. Kravyadev is the fire. Prayer is given to the chitta. The person prays. Apsarharam tasmavena swarganayamritaham. The Pandiji and the person prays to the chitta, the pyre, the fire, that may you consume the body, and return it back to the elements. There's a special prayer for that and all that. Anyways, all that is done. Then what happens then? After that, they talk about when the ceremony is finished, what happens? Now the question you ask is, who performs the Shraddh ceremony? And this gets into a very important discussion. Should a man perform the ceremony or a woman perform the ceremony? So let me be very frank about this. It is preferred, the scriptures does not say that a woman cannot perform Shraddh ceremony. It is preferred that a man perform the ceremony. Preferred. Now what happens in the absence of a man? Let's say I didn't have any son, right? Who would perform my Shraddh? Perhaps my brother. What if I didn't have brother? Do I have a close cousin, perhaps, my bloodline, that performs the Shraddh? Oh, Panditji, you're biased to the man. Hinduism is biased for the man. No. There's a reason for that. Shraddh ceremony, this is one ceremony where cleanliness is utmost. Cleanliness is utmost with this ceremony here. Let me give you a shloka from the Garud Puran that talks about why it is preferable, it is preferred for men to perform this ceremony. It does not exclude women, but it is preferred for men to perform the ceremony. Ashwapatam chakurvitam dattva daha jalanjalim. There is one thing called tilanjali and one called jalanjali. Tilanjali is water mixed with til that you offer. And there's another water called jalanjali, tears coming from the eyes. These two waters, one is very good for the Atma and one is very bad for the Atma. Jalanjali. Ashwapatum ta kurvita dattva daha jalanjalim shleshamashu bandhuvaikum prokte bhukte yato shwaraha. Tears should be avoided at the cremation, at a funeral. They should abstain from shedding tears while Shraddh is done. They should abstain from shedding tears. This, if you grow up with the older folks, they'll tell you all the time, don't cry, don't let your tears, but they say it different, don't let it fall in the coffin, or, but how you had coffin? Don't let the tears fall in the coffin, right? So, but there's a bigger rule to that. Do not let tears fall. Why? They should abstain from shedding tears while Shraddh is done. If tears are shed and coughing is done, then what happened? Shleshamashu. Then what happened? The departed spirit has to consume the tears helplessly. Now, what is this, Panditji? How can the departed consume? Yeah. Every drop of tears that is shed at the funeral, the poor spirit has to consume it helplessly. Now, let me ask you a question. You got to answer this. Naturally, on a physical level, right? Not emotional, physical level, who's the strongest? A man or a woman? Naturally, a man, right? Naturally. Now you get some woman who can beat up men and things, there's no dispute about that. But naturally, a man is stronger physically, than a woman. Emotionally, who is weaker? Who is weaker emotionally? A man or a woman? Who is somebody dead? Who's going to cry most? Man or woman? Woman. I've seen it all the time. I've seen it all the time. I've seen it all the time. Women naturally will cry more, they will grieve more, and tears will fall more, right? So, for this reason, and this reason alone, it is recommended that men perform Shraddh ceremony. It is recommended because women, they cry a lot. They cry a lot, and tears are very bad for the spirit. However, if you are strong-minded, and you're a woman, you're strong-minded, you can bear your emotions, you can do the Shraddh of your husband or somebody else, and you want to do it, be free. You're welcome to do it. I want to be very public about this. I have done many Shraddh. I am probably one of the first, by the way, who has done Shraddh for where women are the Shrotas. Just last year, we did 3 Shraddh like that, where women did the Shraddh for their husband. I officiated the ceremony. And I explained to them before, I said, you have the choice. Find a cousin, find somebody, or if you're strong enough to do it, you have to be careful if it's the husband passes away, because they're going to break down. And I warned them. I said, your husband did good karmas, they're going to go to heavens, try to hold it together. So for this reason, Hinduism doesn't say woman can't do it, but try to avoid it if you're emotionally weak. If you know you're going to break down, avoid it, right? So we put women on the pedestal. Now what happens here? Cremation ceremony is done, pujas are done, havan is done, and on the cremation day, tarpana is not done because the soul is not yet a pitra. So tarpan is not done. Some people do tarpan, that's no problem. If you have it, it doesn't hurt. You have to now go back to the home. What happens at the home? Tetim sanshupta gocha griham balapura saha vidashya nitya praptim niyata dwara meshatam. Everybody before going in the home, purification must be done. This is something I think you all know. Before you go into the home, there is some things that are prepared there. Garud Puran tells us, at the door of their house, they should chew certain leaves, like tulsi leaves and so on. But everybody is not into that. So what happens? They rinse their mouth, they take the water, touching usually. For us, they have haldi on a stone, a piece of firewood, a weapon, like a cutlass, and some neem leaf. These are all purificatory things. In the presence of those things, you do not have evil spirits entering. Now, why do you do that? Because you have gone to a place where cremation was done. You've gone to a place where it was sorrowful. You've gone to a place where tears were dropping all over the place. So before entering the home, everybody does purification, pavitri. And there's a process where it's done. You take the water, sprinkle it over the body after touching the different things. Garud Puran says have some cow dung there as well, because cow dung is very auspicious. And you touch it everywhere, sprinkle it over. The people who have performed the Shraddh ceremony, they will take a bath. And then they eat humble food. They eat humble food. Food should not be cooked in the home for the public for 13 days, right? Garud Puranji says, why don't we cook food and share it out to people for 13 days? That home is now apavitra. It is impure. You should not give charity from that home for 13 days. You should not, cook food into that home for others. You can cook for yourself, but not for others for that 13 days. Why? Because whatever you cook in that home, remember the energy in an environment is important. And when you cook food in the home for that time and you share it with others, what happens? The energy is passed on to people. It's passed on to people. As a matter of fact, in the homes, where someone dies, food is brought from outside usually, you all know this, and then it is given to people. But avoid cooking food in the home to share it with people. You are feeding them an energy that is not so elevating, right? Food should not be just consumed to fill the stomach. Where it is cooked, how it is cooked, all those things matter. All those things matter. For the Panditjis, we have a rule. Unless it is relative, close people to you, you do not even drink a sip of water in that home. That is the rule that we have. You do not consume a sip of water into that home or from the home, especially places like funeral homes and things like that. They get bottles and bottles of water. Today things have changed so much. Just pre-COVID, you go to a funeral home, they have chow mein and fried rice on the night of the wake. Chow mein, fried rice, chana. People are eating, right? Now it's probably good for business, but it is bad for your spiritual health. It is very bad because your food is drawing all those energies and you're eating it. And then afterwards you get problems and all that. Food is never cooked in the home to share. You can cook it and eat it yourself. And then you stay away from certain spicy food. They say don't chunky and things like that because you have to fast now for 13 days. Why you don't chunky food in the home? Because those are food that will cause, it will cause you not to be peaceful. Onion and garlic, usually, you don't cook those things because your mind cannot be at peace. So that's why they say avoid it. Now the question is asked. Garudji says, Prabhu, you talk enough. Long talk there. Tell me now, if a person dies, but you can't find their body, how are you going to do all of this? Garudji is a very smart vulture. So if a person dies, let's say in an avalanche or drowned in the ocean, and you cannot find the body, how are you going to do cremation, Prabhu? How are you going to absorb all of this? Well, Bhagwan Sri Vishnu has an answer for every question. Bhagwan Vishnu says, Prabhu, Garudji, hear about this now. In a cremation to be performed for those whose body are not found. Em proshite tu mrite swami ityaneta tamushyate kacham daha shakarnavyam mastate vada jagatpate palashasya cha vrittanam vibhagam shnu kashayah krishna jivam samatirtha kushascheva purushayaham palashasya vrittanam cha. In the case where the body cannot be found, there are ways death occurs that are not so pleasant. If there are fire, cannot find the body, drowned in the ocean, eaten by an elephant, by a lion, sorry. These cases happen. What are you going to cremate? Bhagwan says, in that case, then they should make an effigy of the deceased. They should make an effigy, an effigy, like something like a statue out of the deceased. That is where this thing has come from. The pictures, right? Picture is not a Christian thing or a Western thing. It is a Hindu process. It is a Hindu process where we have at your home, I hope and pray that at your altar you have your Shivji, your Ramji, your Krishnaji and all of the Jis. But also you must have your Pitras. You must have those who have passed on, because they have now elevated to that level, right? A picture reminds you and helps you to connect with your loving and dear ones. Anyways, so you have to understand this. You make an effigy of the person. This happened in Guyana last year, where a body could not be found. They called me up and said, we hear you the guy, and say, yeah, but I can't come. But what do we do? I said, make an effigy. If you want to cremate it, what it does, on an emotional level as well, on an emotional level, it allows you to do something. Make an effigy, you literally cremate it. You understand? And there's process how you do it. The grasses are used and the herbs are used. You literally cremate it. And the person, Bhagwan Vishnu tells Garud, it brings closure to your life. It brings closure to your life that you have at least done something. There's process of doing it and all that here. Making an effigy of the person, it is recommended. Now, what happens? How is cremation done? Is cremation done the same for everybody? I'm going to finish off the cremation part and go now to the other part. Is cremation done the same for everybody? No. Cremation is not done the same for everybody because everybody doesn't have the same depth. When you go to the hospital, the same medicine is not given to everybody because you're sick. The heart people get different medicine, kidney people get different medicine, I had people get different medicine, told people any other different medicine, right? Except in Guyana, when I was little, we used to go to a place called the dispensary. Dispensary. When you go to dispensary, blame on dispensary, because my dad worked at the estate, so that means when you're sick, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because you don't go to school. So your daddy carry a dispensary and whole day done there. You gotta wait for man until 3 o'clock. And then when you go in, the dispenser sits behind the table and he got a big jar beside him, like one big jar. And he said, hey, one day you come? Bicycle? He said, yeah, bicycle. What happened? I buy a coffee, get cold. Put his hands in there, pull out some sugar tablet, put in things on, give you. You go drink that, everything will be all right. Another man come in, my holy belly, and like everything, what wrong with you? Something. Same jar, put your hand in, take a tablet, put in, you drink, everything will be fine. Man come, I hang out, whatever ease the follow, what wrong to you? Eye problem? No problem. Same thing given to everybody. And everybody grew up nice. We all grew up here, we go home, we drink the sugar tablet, and we felt great. We felt nice about it, right? There was something called dilution. Everybody know what is dilution? Right? If you get sore, if you get abscess, if you get cut, you get snake bite, nail bore you, no matter what, donkey bite you, all these kind of things, you go to the dispensary and they give you something called dilution. You know what the dilution? Everybody know what dilution is? Haldi. Dilution. They mix haldi with another chemical, and literally when you put it on your body, it becomes dye, yellow. So all kind of bite you have, all kind of bore you have, all kind of cut you have, same thing. They don't have antibiotics and all, dilution. Hey, I show up at the dispensary. The kids always saw this big cut on my left leg here. You go to the dispensary, and I went there, dressed it with dilution. I'm healthy, I'm strong. No antibiotics, no injection, no fancy treatment, no stay home. You go to school and stuff like that. Dilution. So Guyana treatment is very different those days. But these days, everybody go and you have a different medication. Similarly, for death, there are different rituals to be done. Bhagwan Shri Vishnu says, Garud says, Prabhu, those people who die differently, what is done for them? Bhagwan Vishnu says, I will now tell you the great secret about the rites of death for those who die through a serpent bite, who died killed by a tiger, or who are drowned, who are bitten by snakes, and who commit suicide as well. And what he says, these are different procedures for all of them. What are the procedures? They are known as Tatu Dharma Maran Geyam Yachya Gyatam Vidhi Vina Tena Papena Narkana Bhuktva Preta Tubhagina. They are not natural death, they are caused, and the soul becomes a little bit restless. The Atma becomes a little restless. So you have to do a Prayaschit Homam, something called Prayaschitam, where you ask forgiveness if they've committed suicide. There's a really special part of the ceremony called Prayaschita Homa, where you ask the Lord for forgiveness of the Atma. Suicide is not a thing that is good for the Atma. Tremendous amount of prayers and pujas and rituals are done to appease the soul, because Bhagwan has put that Atma in the body. It's not your right to take it out. So when that kind of death happens, snake bite and all this kind, and suicide and so on, there is something called Narayan Bali. Panditji, Narayan Bali? Or what? Narayan Bali? That is performed when somebody dies, Narayan Bali, in addition to the Shraddh ceremony. So it is very different for people who die differently. And so he explains all that. Now funeral is done. What happens now? We talk about Panchak already. We talk about right, all the pindas. Now we're going to talk about what happens after that. But what happens now, we have to keep you a little tuned up. So we're going to sing a beautiful song for Bhaiji Omkar and his family. Bhaiji Omkar and Darshini, of course, they're here giving thanks to their ancestors. And we're going to sing Sur ki gati mein kya janu, ek bhajan karna janu. It's a beautiful song that their family is connected to, and ask Bhagwan to bless the Atma of their ancestors. Very old song. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, we're putting the pictures. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं. Now when I say सुर की गति में क्या जानूं, I want everybody to say एक भजन करना जानूं. What does the song mean? Prabhu, no matter what you have taught us, no matter what you've given us, सुर की गति में क्या जानूं? What do I know about singing, Prabhu? एक भजन करना जानूं. I don't even know a bhajan. No matter how many hundreds of bhajans we know, when we stand up in front of God, we don't know a single one of them. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं. अर्थ भजन का भी अति गहरा, उसको भी मैं क्या जानूं. अर्थ भजन का भी अति गहरा, उसको भी मैं क्या जानूं. प्रभु 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 करना जानूं, प्रभु 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 करना जानूं. नैना जल भरना जानूं, नैना जल भरना जानूं. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं. गुण गाए, गुण गाए प्रभु न्याय न छोड़े. फिर क्यों तुम गुण गाते हो, फिर क्यों तुम गुण गाते हो. मैं भोला मैं प्रेम दीवानी, इतनी बातें क्या जानूं. प्रभु 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 करना जानूं, प्रभु 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 करना जानूं. नैना जल भरना जानूं, नैना जल भरना जानूं. हो सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं, एक भजन करना जानूं. सूर की गति में क्या जानूं, एक भजन करना जानू, एक भजन करना जानू। Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. Dedicated to all the Pitris of Bhaiji Omkar and Darshani on this very blessed day of theirs. Cremation is done. What happens now? That is not the end of your responsibilities, but it is actually the beginning of so many things to come. We have to do now what we call Dashagatra ceremony, or what we call the 10-day ceremony. But what happens from here? Your home of the deceased is now lit with diya, incense, that is always recommended, in order to keep the mind focused, concentrated. That's why you light incense, so that you breathe in beautiful, scent, and you're relaxed. Now, in the old system, or Garud Puran recommends that each day after cremation, one pinda ceremony is done. Now let me ask you a question. How do you count? So somebody's cremated, or somebody dies today, they're cremated tomorrow, you have to do the 10-day ceremony. From where do you count? Do you count from the day they died? Or do you count from the day they are cremated? From the day they are? From the day they are cremated. Very good. Now why you do so? It is only logical. If you count from the day they died to do the 10-day and 13-day, let us go back to last night. Let's say I live in Berbice and my family got to come from England and United States and all that. And somebody dies, now they're going to take their time to get a leave and tickets and hand over responsibilities and all that. Let's say they take 2 weeks to come. Let's just assume that. What will happen? In that case, the body is not cremated as yet, but you have to do 12-day and 13-day if you're counting from the date of death. So you never do that. You always count from the day of cremation. Now, it is not even from the day of cremation. When does the counting start? Right? From the day after cremation. So let's say the cremation is done today. Today is Saturday. When would the first day be? Sunday? Tomorrow is the first day. It is a huge mistake in our community when they start counting from today. So today is 1 day, tomorrow is 2 days, the next day is 3 days. No, you never do that. Why? If a baby is born today, let's say baby is born midday or morning or whatever it is, and somebody asks you, how old is this baby? What are you going to say? Baby is not a day old as yet. But if you say tomorrow now, somebody asks you tomorrow, how old is the baby? The baby is 1 day old. Garud Puran tells you that after cremation, 10 pindas are offered. So from tomorrow, 1 pinda start offered. It is called Dashagatra ceremony, the very ancient traditional way, not even when I was a little boy, way before that, according to the book. It's called Dashagatra, which means every day you go to a different ghat. Ghat means if there are a trench or there's a river, there's a bridge or something across there where you go dip water and so on. There is where you go and you perform this ceremony. In India, they have Dash Ashwamedha Ghat. In Varanasi, Dash Ashwamedha Ghat. Many people here have gone there, I've taken them. You have Dash Ashwamedha Ghat. That is where the 10 ghats are. Tulsi Ghat, this Ghat, that Ghat. Where you go and you do Shraddh ceremony. Every day, different place until the 10th day. Why are the Shraddh ceremonies done? What are the meaning of the 10 pindas? They are significant in our lives. Let us look at what they mean, these 10 pindas, because you have to know what they mean in order to do them and when to do them. Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud ke Narayan Bhagavan. Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud ke Narayan Bhagavan. Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud ke Narayan Bhagavan. Oh Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud ke Narayan Bhagavan.
Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud ke Narayan Bhagavan.
Oh हो जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण
भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान
ओ भागद्वेषामदेहं स्वायुतीयते यानुगः तृप्यन्ति हि चतुर्षेना स्वयं ह्युपविजीवितः अहोरात्राणि च न वर्देः निष्कमित्यातु यायतः शिरस्पाद्धेन पिण्डेन प्रेतस्य क्रियते तथा जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण हो जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण हो जय जय नारायण भगवान गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान जय जय नारायण हो गरुड़ के नारायण भगवान. You have to do the 10-day ceremony now. Please, it is not practical in the day that we live in to have a priest every day to go different ghat and do one pinda each every day. If you can do that, very good. If not, nothing is wrong. So the 10-day ceremony after the cremation, the people will assemble together. That's when they call, shave head ceremony. They shave the head again. If you have shaved it for the cremation, you shave it. Why is the head shaven? Why is the head shaven? For the people who have hair. If you're going to get hair, you can't shave your head. Understand? People who have hair, you shave their head. And that's another reason, again, why it is preferred that a man do the ceremony instead of a woman. Again, in absence of a man, you have to have a woman. So that's why the head is shaven. Why is the head shaven? Shraddh ceremony is the purest of all. The purest of all. And hair, although when it is on the body, it is admired and you can color it and you can comb it and whatever it is. But the minute the hair falls in the food, it's a chi-chi-chi. How inauspicious is that? The same hair you were admiring just now in the mirror and say, oh, look at my hair, has now fallen in the food and it has become impure. It's an amazing thing. So here where our rituals tells us the presence of a single hair at your place of worship, in your food, I don't want to tell you too much things, but it is not good. So what happened? The hair is shaven off to ensure, that just like the surgeons, when they go in to do a surgery, they tie their head up, they scrub in and all this kind of thing to make sure that nothing is contaminated. Similarly, the head is shaven off. The hair is shaven off from the head, and you have the choti. The choti or the churki should be the size of a cow's paw. And that is to protect the part of the head. That is called an antenna. That is your antenna. The churki or the choti is knotted as well with a kush grass. Kush grass is the antenna. Kush Malay Stito Brahma. It is knotted and it brings all the frequencies of the universe into you. There's no scratching, there's no digging, there's no itching. Hair is shaven. Purity is there. Right? So what happens now? The puja starts. What is the meaning of the 10 pindas? 10 pindas are offered on the 10th day. Not on the day of the funeral, not before, not after. There is a practice happening at a lot of places, especially when foreigners go back to certain countries. There is a practice happening where the Panditji is asked to, or the Panditji sometimes recommend, that the funeral do today. I've witnessed this with my own eyes in my village. The funeral is done today, and the folks have to go away 4 or 5 days after. So there's a Panditji, we got a job to go back to and all these kind of things. Can you just, labhesar everything, samhari everything into, Panditji, no problem. No problem. God there today, tomorrow, God everywhere. God is here, there, and everywhere. They create some kind of story and give to you. So today is the funeral. Tomorrow is the 10th day, and the next day is the 13th day. Apni aankhon se dekha. I've seen that with my eyes. Today funeral, tomorrow is 10th day, and the next day is 13th day. I've seen it in my eyes. You know what I've seen in my eyes as well too? On the funeral day, 10 days, 13 days done on the funeral day. I have seen this with my own eyes. The Panditji will say, well, you know, God next week, God whatever, so everything done funeral day. So I went up to a Panditji once and I says, good. You explained to me that you offered 6 pinda today and you offer prayer for 10 days and offer 13 days. Fantastic, Panditji. Thank you very much for the explanation. I don't know where it is, but let me ask you a question. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to eat all the food today, go home and eat food, enough food, and for the next 2 weeks, I don't want you to drink any water and any food for the next 2 weeks. He said, how that can happen? I said, well, you just did it. You just did it. You offered pindas today for the 10 day and for the 13 day, all in today. I said, go home, man. Multiply 13 days by how many meals you eat. By the looks of it, you have a lot of meals a day, so 3-4 meals, 13 times 4. You multiply that, and you eat all the food today. All the food today, and you don't eat back anything for the next 13 days. Is that not possible? That's not practical? Same thing happens for the deceased. You cannot do on the funeral day, pinda ceremony, and then you do 10-day ceremony and 13-day ceremony, and say everything all right. You cannot. Well, you can do it. It's just that it is meaningless. You have, and anybody who does that stuff, that is, you have no idea what you are messing with. Your hands become so dirty. There is no karmas to purify that. Don't do stuff like that. I want to encourage the Hindu families as well. Although some things may not be convenient for you, right? Because you have your commitments at your work, you have your commitments elsewhere. If it may not be convenient for you to be there for the 10 day and the 13 day, then that's fine. You go back to your work, but arrange something to be done during that time. Arrange for a neighbor to do it. Arrange for a stranger to do it. But do not commit any sin like that by samhari everything into one day. It is not recommended. Garud Puran says, 10-day ceremonies, 10 pindas are offered. Why are they offered? The body, remember, the Atma has to go back to Paramatma. Unless you're a pure soul like Dashrath. Remember when Raja Dashrath died, what happened? Ram Ram Kahu Ram Kahu Ram Ram Kahu Ram. When Dashrath was dying, he called Ramji's name 6 times. And as his breath exited his body, Paye gaye Surdham. Ramayana tells us that his Atma went right away to Surdham, to the heavens. There was no rites or rituals required for him because he was such a good person, good Atma. That is not applicable for most of us. We got to do Shraddha. So the Atma has to travel back now, but the Atma has lost the body. The body has been cremated, or in very few cases buried. So what is the Atma going to do? The Atma needs a vehicle. You build an engine, it cannot travel by itself. It needs a body, it needs wheels and all that. So what you're going to do now, on the 10th day, you're going to create what we call an astral body for the Atma. Has anybody seen a Marvel movie, Doctor Strange? Everybody see Doctor Strange? Any Marvel fans here? Doctor Strange. You guys must watch certain movies with your children. It's nice. Doctor Strange is a Marvel movie, English movie. But that is when Doctor Strange, what is my name? What started the movie? Benedict Cumberbatch. He's an English actor. Benedict Cumberbatch, very talented. He played Doctor Strange. He was a medical doctor. And what happened, he was very proud of his talents and all, blah, 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 blah. And what happened, he got into an accident and he lost the functions of his hands. He couldn't do surgery and all this kind of thing. So he went to Nepal. And then he engaged in a Vedic school where the Vedas were stored in the libraries. It is so Hindu. You got to look at the movie, Doctor Strange, right? And they taught him about things. And he was able, they taught him the process of experiencing the astral body. He actually came out of his astral body and he appeared in front of people and they're saying, what happened? You're dead, but you're in the table, but here you are. He says, no, that's my physical body. This is my astral body. The West have taken this philosophy from us. And they're making movies, and we're like paying money and money to watch the Marvel movies when it is the Hindu teachings. There is a physical body, you die, the physical body is gone. Right? There is Karana Sharira. That's why you sip tree water, right? Prana, when you sip water, for the tree body. Astral body, physical body, and soul body. Anyways, so the astral body, you have to form that body now. How do you form that body? You form the body by offering pindas. Ahoratretu navametya. The first pinda is offered. It is formed the head of the preta. Prathamo pinda, the first pinda you offered. Pindas are always offered between the thumb and the index finger. If you watch your palm like this, it is divided into 3 parts. This is called Deva Tirtha. This part here, Deva Tirtha. So if you go to the river and you offer dhar to the devas, you dip the water like this and you throw it forward. Om Suryaya Namaha, Adityaya Namaha. So this is called the Deva Tirtha. That's why you do Havan, you offer through here, through these 3 fingers. Deva Tirtha. There is Deva Tirtha. Then there is Nara Tirtha, the bottom part here. So if you go to the river and the Ganga and thing and you want to offer water to the great sages, Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan Kumar, and so on, you dip the water like this and you loose it to the bottom. That is called Naratirtha. This is for the human. Right? Naratirtha. And third, Pitratirtha. This here, when it comes here, now if you open like that, everybody can say your hand get M, that means money and long life, whatever. I know about that. But this part here, so between the thumb and the index finger, this is called the Pitratirtha. So whatever you offer here, this part here, whatever you offer in Shraddha is offered through there. So pindas are held in the palm, the center of the palm, and they go through, you turn your hand like this, right, to offer it. When you do tarpan in certain ways as well, you put the til in your hand, and then the Panditji will throw water or milk, and it goes through this part here to the ancestors. That is one way of doing it. Pitratirtha. So you offer pindas, pick it up like this, put it down like this, pick it up like this, put it down like this. It is never offered like this or so on. The first pinda, Pratamo pinda, the Panditji chants the mantras, na? Ahoratrestu navamiddeho nishpati mapnuyatanaha shirastapyena pindena pretasya kriyate tatha. The first pinda that you offer on the 10-day ceremony, it forms the head, the astral body, it forms the head. Now the second body, dvitiyena tu karnakshi nasikam tu samasataha galansa bhuja javakshascha tritiyena tatha kramat. The second pinda that you offer forms the ears, the eyes, and the nose. Second pinda, dvitiya pinda mayadiyante tavopatishtatam, not samarpaya, tavopatishtatam. The second pinda forms the ears, the eyes, and the nose. Now, the third pinda, galansa bhuja yakshihi tritiyena tatha kritam. The third pinda forms galansa bhuja, the neck, the shoulder, the arms, and the chest. You are creating an astral body of the departed one who passed away. This is a unique system you can never find anywhere but in the Hindu scriptures. That is why when people stand up and say, I'm a proud Hindu, you should know what it means. You should know that you're able to create or recreate your departed ones with Prabhu in your presence. You got to understand, Shraddha is not a plaything. You know what plaything is? It's not a toy. It is not something you mess with. It is a very important procedure. That is why it must be done timely. Right? We take 9 months to come into this world, my friends. Nau mahine udhar mein raka jab duniya mein aayi. 9 months your mother cared for you when you came into this earth. How can you get rid of the body just like that in one day? No, it takes 1 year to complete. 9 months to come, 11 months to complete the going back. This is the science of the Hindus. Please know this. 9 months to come, 11 months to go back. Shraddha is done 11th one before the 12th. Now, so the third pinda forms the neck, the shoulder, the arms, and chest. What happens now? Chaturthena chapindena nabhilinga gudu tatha janu jamba tatha padau panchameta chu sarvadam. This is the shlokas. By the fourth pinda, the navel, the genitals are formed. And the fifth pinda, the thigh and the calves are formed. The thigh and the calves are formed. The sixth pinda, sarvamata tishashtena saptamena tunadaha dantaloma ashtadepena bhiryastu navamena chaha. By the sixth pinda, all the vital organs are formed. You're forming the heart and the kidney and everything back. By the sixth pinda, shashtamo pinda, all the vital organs are formed. By the seventh pinda, the nerves are formed, the nervous system. Astral body includes the nervous system. Why do you have to have a nervous system? The nervous system allows you to experience. Like, you hit the tip of your finger, you feel, problems. Because this astral body has to experience. It has to have certain experiences back. Death is not the end of life as the world will tell you, or the other faith will tell you it is. Rest in peace. You're not resting. There's no rest even after death. You got to go and have a different experience. So what happened? The seventh pinda, the nerves are formed. By the eighth pinda, the teeth and the hair are formed. The teeth and the hair are formed. The ninth pinda, blood flows in the body. And by the 10th pinda, dashamena tu purnatvam. Dashamena tu purnatvam. Purna means complete. When the 10th pinda is offered, fullness is achieved. Hunger is satisfied. Now, Bhagwan Sri Vishnu says, Garudji, when the 10th pinda is formed, the entire body is formed. What does the Panditji do on the 10th day? He tells the person, put all the pindas together, and they literally form a face. You put your fingers like this, 2 eyes and mouth, right? Nose is formed. And then you take the kush grass. You place it on top of the pinda. That represents the hair of the person. Tulasi is placed in the eyes and the ears. You're forming an astral body. It is seated now on the koa leaves or bargat leaves. And they are now tied together. Till is sprinkled, of course, always. They are tied together. And then what happens? The vritsova, the pavitra occurs now. The person takes the pinda in their hand. The 10 pindas form a body. And what are they going to do now? Ma and Pa, when we were little, you embraced us. You put us, you put us on your cheeks. You put us on your eyes. Tujhe suraj kahu ya chanda, tujhe deep kahu ya tara. Mera naam karega roshan, jag mein mera raj dulara. We didn't know, Ma, when I was born, or Pitaji, when I was born, you didn't know if you should call me the sun or the moon. The stars are a light. All you asked was that I shine light to your name. You hugged me, you kissed me. I never had an opportunity to do that. Today, as I send you back, I return that to you for the last time. And on the 10th day, what you do, the Panditji will tell you, Vangame astyastu, nasome pranovastu, akshnolme chakshurastu, karnome shrotamastu. You put it all the vital places. And then you place the pinda on the right-hand side of the shoulder, and then the person stands up. When the person stands up now, you're going to go in the northern direction. You take 7 steps in the northern direction. You know why north? North, because that is the direction of Vaikuntha, the heavens. You are now fetching. You are now cleansing yourself of Pitra dosha, fetching and assisting the journey of mukti, the journey of freedom. You are taking your Pitra now to that level. You place it on your right-hand shoulder. It is so beautiful. Shraddha is a touching ceremony if you understand what it means. And then after that, usually what happens, we don't have that here. But what I'll do, I'll take a thali, put the Ganga Jal inside. They take their 10 steps and they come and they place the pinda in the Ganga Jal. That is symbolical of placing it into the holy water. Into the holy water. That is the Dashagatra ceremony. Up to then, No dakshina is given to the Panditji. Never ever you give a dakshina to the Panditji until the 13th day ceremony. Because you remember the home is still impure. Whatever you give is impure. Whatever you give is impure. Whatever you take is impure as well. So that completes the 10-day ceremony. And that is usually done back home. That's done at the waterside where there's water and so on. Right? Here we do it outside. Shraddha, to the best of your ability, please try to do it outside. It is not an energy that is too welcoming for the home. Now, if you live in apartments and things, it is very difficult to go outside and do it. But, if your home is consecrated nicely, perhaps you can handle that kind of energy. What happens now? The 13th day comes. I want to talk about this before we close tonight. There is a difference between the 12th day and the 13th day. People are always confused. Panditji, I heard a certain caste, they do 12-day ceremony. And if you're not certain caste, you have to do 13-day ceremony. That is not so. What happens? First of all, the Lord says that after that, He's telling Garudji, after that, Sapindi Karma is going to be done now. You continue lighting a lamp. A lamp, according to Garud Puran, is lit for 1 year until the Shraddha ceremony. But safety reasons, we don't do that. So you at least light it until the 13 days. What happens? On the 12th day, you complete what is called Sapindi Karma. Sapindi Karma means offering of 16 pindas. Offering of 16 pindas. Why is the 16 pindas offered? Because now the soul has to go to Yamdev. It is called the journey to Yam. And as the Atma now is going to travel, the astral body is built on the 10th day. Astral body is built. The soul goes into the astral body and it begins its journey. But it has to go to 16 cities. So this is what we call Sapindi Karma, where you on the 12th day, you offer 16 pindas. And the 16 names are written here. For the purpose of Garud Puran, I'll read them to you. The 16 cities are called Yam Yam Sauri Puram Nagendra Bhavanam Gandharva Shaila Gamo Kraucham Kraur Puram Vichitra Bhavanam Bhavat Padam Dukkha Dhamam Nana Kranda Puram Sutapta Bhavanam Raudram Payo Varshanam Shitadayam Bahubhitisho Dashapurane Yanta Dushyate. What are the 16 cities? Yamya, Sauripura, Nagendra Bhavana, Gandharva, Shailagrama, Krauncha, Kraurpura, Vichitra Bhavan, Bahabadpada, Dukhbadpada, Nanakrandapur, Sutapta Bhavan, Raudra, Payovarshan, Sitadhya, and Bahubhiti. When the Panditji offers the pindas on the 12th day, these 16 names are called Tavopatishthata. The pinda ceremony, all of it is done on the 12th day according to Garud Puran. You finish. 12th day, pinda ceremony is done. Offer the 16 pindas, bhojan is prepared. Panchagrasana or Agrasana. 5 bhojans are usually prepared. Pipilka kid, like for the fish, for the cow, for the insects, for atithi, and for the animals that live around. Everybody has to eat, so you prepare 5 food on the 10th day as well. You offer that on the 12th day. Pinda ceremony is done. Wash hands, clean up everything, water. And then according to Garud Puran, the 13th-day ceremony is when Gita is read. The 13th-day ceremony is when Gita is read. For convenience, what happens? Everything is done on one day. For convenience, because we have to practice our culture according to Deshriti, Kalariti, according to the time we live in, according to the country we live in. So usually people do everything on the 12th day or on the 13th day. There is no hard rule around that, but if you want to do the really traditional way, everything is, pindas are done on 12th day, and then Gita is done on the 13th day. That is the difference between 12 and 13. It has nothing to do with caste, creed, color, nothing like that. That is just the difference between 12th and 13th day. How I will finish tonight, is to describe briefly the journey. On the 13th day now, the Gita is done. What is done on the Gita on the day of the 13th day? Gita part is read. Parthaya pratiboditam bhagavatam narayanena swayam vyasena gratitam purana munina madhe mahabharatam. This is Gita Amritam, the introduction. Advaitamritavarsanam bhagavatim ashtadashadhyayanam ambatvam anusam dadhami bhagavat gite bhavadveshinim sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopal nandana partho vatsa sudurbhukta dugdham gitamritam maha vasudeva sutam devam kamsachanurmardanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagatgurum bhishmadronatata jayadrajjala gandharanilotpana Shalya grahavati kripena bahani karnena bela kula ashvatama vikarna ghor makara duryodhana vartini sotirna khalu pandarairadanadhim kaivartaka keshava parasharya vacha sarojamamalam gitaat gandhot katham नानाख्यानक केसरम हरिकथा संबोधना बोधितम लोके सज्जन शतपदे रह रह पेपीयमानं मुरा भूयद् भारत पंकजम कलिमलो प्रध्वंसिनो श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दं माधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणीन्द्ररुद्रमरुता स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्थवे वेदैः साङ्गपरक्रमोपनिषदे गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततर्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिन यस्यान्तं देवाये तस्मै नमः. बोले कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की. That is called the Gita Dhyanam, chanted in full with all the intonations. Gita Dhyanam. The Gita is read on the 13th day, and the Gita Dhyanam has to be read. Gita Dhyanam. Why is Gita read? Right? If you're interested in getting a very authentic, very beautiful version of the Gita, there's one is called by Swami Chidbhavananda. The Gita as commentary by Swami Chidbhavananda. It is the most read and beautifully explained, and there is commentary by Swami Ramakrishna as well. You can find it online at the Ramakrishna Math in Chennai. We brought several dozens and sold it in the temple for cost, but it is the most beautiful version out there. If you want to confuse your life by reading Gita, read something called Bhagavad Gita as it is. You're going to die if you read it, not live. But this here is one that will make you live, and I love it. In this version as well, you have the Gita Dhyanam. Not in all versions you have it, by Chidbhavananda. Why is Gita read on the 13th day? Why not Ramayana? Why not Shiv Puran? Why not Bhagavatam read on the 13th day? Because Gita is the most recent word of the Lord, 5,200 years ago in Kurukshetra. It does not mean that that's how old the Gita is. No. Because in the Gita, although it was recited 5,200 years ago on that, while he was reciting it to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he says, Arjun, I have recited this Gita ages ago to Vivaswan, who is Surya Bhagavan. That's a key verse in the Gita we must learn. So we were debating once on the validity of scriptures and the ancientness of anything. And Pandit, you're a Hindu man, your Gita is only 5,000 years old. That is not even nothing. No. Look into it. The Gita was recited or revealed to Arjuna only under 5,200 years ago, but it is ancient. Why was the Gita read, or why is the Gita read on the 13th day? Because Gita, Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandana. This is the Gita Amritam, Gita Dhyanam. These children, all the children of the temple here, or most of them who I've taught, they have memorized Gita Dhyanam. When they go to wake, hey, everyone, you know the Gita Dhyanam? Okay, I'll test you later. Shavi, you know Gita Dhyanam? Test you later. They all know it, memory. No reading book and all these kind of fancy things. There was a time when they all knew how to chant chapter 12 Bhakti Yoga by what? Memory. Well, I don't know if you forgot now, but that's a whole different thing. Memory. They would go and chant, recite like this. The Gita Dhyanam is chanted. Why is the Gita so great? In the Gita Dhyanam, it tells us, Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Sarva Upanishado, the Sanskrit word says. Sarva means all. Upanishad. Upanishad are a great text. Katha Upanishad, Ganapati Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Kena Upanishad. These are the philosophies of the Hindus. We have many of them. Chandogya Upanishad, that talks about Purnamada, Purnamidam. You know. Gita, Sarva Upanishado Gavo. If you take all the Upanishad and you put it together, Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. It's like you take carrot and you take a celery and you take orange and everything and you blend it together. The essence of it all is the juice, right? You will not taste the carrot separately. You will not taste the orange separately, but you're tasting the extract of it. Gita, Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Gita is the extract of all the Upanishads. It is the essence of all the Upanishads. And the Vyasji says, Sarva Upanishado Gavo. That it is in the form of a cow. It is in the form of a cow, the Gita. And who's milking? Obviously, you have to milk the cow. The cow is important. Milk is important. You're milking the cow. But who is milking the cow? Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandana. Who's milking the cow? Krishna Bhagavan is the milkman. He's milking the cow. Gopala Nandana. He has the milk now. Who is he going to give the milk to drink to? Partho Vatsa Sudir Bhukta. Partho is Arjuna. He's called Partha in the Gita because he's the son of Prithu, which is Kunti. He is giving this milk, this nectar to Arjun. Partho Vatsa Sudir Bhukta. Dugdham Gita Mritam Maha. Arjun consumes it, and he does not consume milk, but he consumes nectar. That is why Gita is called Dugdham Gita Amritam Maha. Gita is the Amrit of this life. And those who drink this Amrit of life, they will never die. They will never die. Let me tell you a little story, which is a reality. I've taken many people here, a few people here actually, to a place called Kurukshetra. Auntie Kamal, you went to Kurukshetra? You went to Kurukshetra. Anybody else went with us? Kurukshetra? Bhuvan went, of course the kids went here. Bhumika and Sam went. When you go to Kurukshetra, where the battle was fought, there's many places in Kurukshetra. But there is one place called Jyotisar, where Bhagwan Shri Krishna stood under a tree, a particular tree, and he narrated the Gita to Arjun. When the Gita was narrated to Arjun, Bhagwan Shri Krishna froze the army because he did not want anybody else to hear this Gita. But he did not know there were two others who were listening to this Gita. One was Hanumanji Maharaj. Because Hanumanji was seated on the chariot of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And Arjun on the chariot. So Hanumanji heard Pathaya Pratibodhitam Hari Bhai. Hanumanji clasped his hands and he's listening because he likes to listen to Hari Katha. Hanumanji is listening to the Katha. Shri Krishna is not conscious of it. I'm sure if he was conscious, he would tell Hanumanji, go and fly away and come back. But no, Hanumanji sat there. And the second who was listening to the Gita, they were under a tree. They were under a tree. because Krishna Bhagavan wanted to take shade. So he goes under a tree and he's narrating the Gita, and the tree listened to the Gita. The tree became pleased. What happens now? Mahabharata fought and so on. How many invasions do you think that happened in India after that? Of course, many invasions happened in India. And every time they invaded India, Kurukshetra, they cut down this tree, put concrete on it, put brick on it. Tree grows back up again. Cut it down. It is in the history book of Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra has a place, the university has all these things documented. They cut it down, they put concrete, cut it down, it keeps coming back up again. You know why? Because that tree heard the essence, the amrit of the Gita. And anyone, including the vrikshas, the trees, who has heard the amrit of the Gita, they will never die. Your body will die, but your atma will forever remain in Paramatma's abode. So what they decided to do, they said, we give up. We can't do anything else. That tree is there up to today. That tree is there up to today. And when you go there, you see that tree, you take the darshan of the tree. They built, a chariot under it. That is where it all happened. You feel Gita there when you go to Kurukshetra. What else is in Kurukshetra? The Bhishma Mandir where Bhishma was shot on a bed of arrows. What else is there in Kurukshetra? The place where Draupadi, you remember Draupadi says, I will not braid my hair until I wash my hair with the blood of Dushasana. When Dushasana was killed, she washed her hair with the blood, and then she went into a pond and then washed her hair there. That place is called the Pandava Mandir. That is there as well. Our Hinduism is not a figment of somebody's imagination and tell you it's all internal and all that. There are historical facts to justify these things. Gita was narrated just under 5,200 years ago in Kurukshetra. That is why, my friends, this is read on the 13th day, because Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogdhago Palanandana Partho Vatsa Surul Bhukta Dugdham Gita Amritam Maha. On the 13th day, you don't give milk and honey and things in the matter. You give the Amrit to the Atma. The Panditji, with preciseness, carefulness, he reads the Gita on that day. And the Atma now, at least, you can't read all 18 chapters, 700 verses on that day. Although, in the Sikh tradition, they have one day in which they read the entire Guru Granth. They read the entire, bring all the Sikhs together, and for entire long, they read the entire Granth. I've witnessed this in my life. And they teach you this anyways, they read the entire Granth. But at that day, when you have 2 hours before 12 o'clock to perform the Gita, you read the Gita Dhyanam, which is the extract, the essence of the Gita. The Atma becomes so pleased. The Atma has now drunk the nectar of the Gita. Right? It has drunk the nectar of the Gita. And now the Atma goes on the 13th day, as recorded in the Garud Puran. At 12 noon, the Atma begins its journey. That is where it came from. Shraddha must be done before 12 o'clock. Finished before 12 o'clock. Pinda Danam is never offered after 12. If it does, it goes to the Rakshas. It is offered always in the morning, except on Amavasya, which is Tuesday coming. I hope you find time to do something sacred for your ancestors, for your Pitris. So what happens? The soul now, Atma, begins its journey to Paramatma. It has to go to 16 different cities. And when you come back tomorrow, we will talk about the 16 different cities it goes to. This is not a story. This is the words of Bhagwan Narayana to Garudji. As it goes to different cities, it goes to a particular city called Dukha Bhavanpur. Dukha means sorrows. You go there to experience the fruits of the negative karmas that you have done. It goes to a mountainous cities, and so on. And that is when the questions are asked. What have you done in life? What good seeds of karmas have you done in life to deserve a Passover? Have you abused the cow? Because there's a place called Vaitarani. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Vaitarani, where you literally need to get the assistance of the cow to go across. right? What have you done? So that is why in life, Swami Vivekananda tells us, life is a preparation for death. And from the time we are born, we have to prepare to die. Because when you die, it is not the end of it. There is no such thing as rest in peace for the Hindus. We never rest until the Atma is merged with Paramatma and does not deserve to come back again. Then, my friends, when the cycle of birth and death is broken, until then, we're going to go Abagawan, go and come, go and come. So we have to be prepared. We have to have 16 visas. 16 visas we have to get to the 16 cities. Tomorrow when you come, we will talk about that journey, and we will talk about, my friends, how it is observed. Finally, this evening, I was asked by a question. Can women, and I've answered this already, can women offer prayers for their ancestors? So I want to answer this question here this evening, because I don't know what is the problem with women and Hinduism. Hinduism has nothing against women. We have never had anything against women. As a matter of fact, we have created, the Hindu structure is like this, that when a man sits to do puja, if he sits alone to do the puja without his wife, that puja is accepted but it's not complete. So the women has to be there, right? Women alone as well, they carry a significant amount of virtues with them. So the question was asked, are women allowed to pray for their beloved ones? Of course, the answer is yes. And I'm not telling you that because it is the age of the women where, women are being fought for and all this kind of thing. The West is today fighting for the rights of women. Women have always had rights. In our culture, women are the most powerful people. And look at her. They're the most powerful. Everybody get 4 hand and 5 hand and 6 hand and whatever. She get 18. Right? Look at that. Biggest in the temple, highest pedestal. So they've always been there. There was a story, 2 stories I'll leave you with. And I know last night I went to 9:30, so now 9:18. 2 stories quickly. When Sita and Ramji left for the exile, Raja Dashrath passed away. So they had to do something called Masik Puja, which I'll talk about tomorrow, monthly puja. Panditji fixes a date for that. 1 month when it was time to do the puja, Ramji Bhagwan went and he couldn't come back in time. The time was passing because pindas cannot be done after 12. So the time was passing, Ramji is not coming back. And what does Sita Ma does? She takes a fruit. She carves the fruit nicely and she makes a pinda out of it. And she says, Pitashri Dashrath, I don't know where my husband is. He's supposed to offer this pinda to you. But today I offer this pinda on his behalf. Pitashri, please accept it and bless us. And she offered the pinda on the ground, on a leaf. It is said, it is written, not said, that when she offers the pinda, a hand came out of the earth and collected the pinda. A hand, that is the hand of Dashrath, came out of the earth. So that is one to tell us, women can pray, they can do Shraddh for whoever they want to do. Right? Whoever. Secondly, all of you have heard the story of Savitri and Satyavan. Savitri and Satyavan, I read this story as not a fairy tale, but as one of those books, those little magazine books when I was little. I forgot what you call them. Not comics, man. Have you book not comic? Yeah. There was
Something Che. Paul
What?
Che, the guy who wrote the book.
Yeah.
Who?
Amachitra Katha, those ones.
No, man. There was anyways.
Anand Pai.
No, there was this series that they used to write with all the. It looks like comic book, but it's not comic. The small magazines, no. Anyways, so what happens? Basically, your child, instead of reading about Cinderella and thing, our mom and dad used to give us these books to read because when you were small, you didn't read the Ramayana and things. So we read about Satyavan and Savitri. This story is written in the Devi Bhagavatam, actually. The Devi Bhagavatam, which we start reading next Wednesday. Satyavan and Savitri, there was a kingdom by the name of Ashwapati, and he prayed to Bhagwan Surya. His name became Savitra. And what happened? Dhyumasena of the Shalva kingdom, he lost everything, including his sight. He was a king, Dhyumasena. But he had a son called Satyavan. And Satyavan now marries this very pavitra woman, this very pure and powerful woman called Savitri. So what happens now? Savitri is married to Satyavan. Savitri's father-in-law is a blind king. He lost a lot in things. Anyways, so Satyavan, her husband, passed away. He died. And Savitri became very upset. So Yamdev came, collect the body, and is fetching him. Savitri run after Yamdev. Run after Yamdev. Yamdev turned back. What do you want? What do you mean what do you want? I want my husband. No. And so Yamdev is going and going and going. And she's walking behind Yamdev. Yamdev says, I got other people to pick up. Like, you're slowing me down. Right? Savitri says, no, I'm coming with you. And she followed the god of death as the god was taking away her husband. Husband died already. Bhagwan Yamdev put on body and says, okay, so tell me what you want. Why are you following me like this? Then she started to pray to Yamdev. Tomorrow, Yam Stuti, we're chanting at 9 o'clock. She wrote the Yam Stuti. And Yamdev says, listen, I'm busy, so ask me 3 things. I'll give you anything. But don't ask me back for the life of your husband, because I can't give you that. Understand? This is the god of death, Dharmaraj, Yamdev. Savitri said, you promise? He said, of course I promise. But you can't ask me for your husband. I can't give you back. Okay? Dead can't come back to life. Savitri said, okay. Savitri says, first, my father-in-law, he's blind. Give him back his sight. Done. Click his hand, father-in-law, the old king, get back his sight. Second boon. What do you want, Savitri? Come on, I gotta go. Give my father-in-law 100 sons. 100 only? That's it. Done. 100 sons. Father-in-law got 100 sons. What's your third one? Remember, you can't get back your husband. Here's Savitri. Thank you, Yamdev. Bless me with many children. Yamdev said, done. Can I go now? I said, yes, you're going. Savitri says, Prabhu, how can I have children without my husband? Yamdev turned back. His eyes were fiery, burning. I said, you tricked me, Savitri. I told you not to ask back for the life of Savitri. I didn't ask. I asked to bless me with many children. But I cannot have, and you granted me, but I cannot have children by myself. I have to have my husband to have children. Yamdev says, oh, this is the power of a Dharma Patni. Dharma Patni, the power of a wife or the power of a woman. So the question was asked to me, can a wife offer prayers for their beloved ones? Of course you can. Of course you can. Right? What does God not listen to the prayers of females? I don't know what triggered these questions, but they are situations where people will put down the women, so you can't pray for this. You can pray for anybody you want to pray. Pray for yourself, pray for anybody else. So the husband had to be given back to her, of course. The power of prayers, my friend, goes beyond gender, goes beyond race, goes beyond whatever it is that we think limitations are. It is only us that are putting limitations to these things. We'll conclude tonight with this, and I would like to thank all of you for coming out to listen to Garud Puran. It's very dry, not a lot of music in it, not a lot of entertainment. So I try to add a little bit of flavor into it just to make sure that you are here. And I want to thank all of you online as well. This has triggered a lot of interest online. So there's a record number of people joining. Anyways, on YouTube and on Facebook as well. Come on out tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I want to announce clearly what's happening. We're not providing anything. You are bringing everything from home. We will probably provide a carpet outside because you can't sit on the concrete. But bring something to sit on, like a pirha or something. We don't have hundreds of pirhas here. Bring a little bottle with some milk inside and mix up with till, black till, sugar and honey. And a couple of flowers, a thali. You must have a thali. We will see how many mango leaves we have here to give you. But bring if you have. Bring a spoon as well if you have one. And then something to sit on, so we'll do the puja outside. I'm not going to do it live because I'm encouraging people to come on out here. If for some reason you cannot attend the temple to do the tarpan, then send me a text, and I've created a Zoom meeting where I'm going to invite everybody and provide you that link for the Zoom, and you can join in the satsang as well. We don't have that coverage out there to do these things. So if you're in America, New York, Florida, whatever, Guyana, Trinidad, people are watching England and things, tomorrow 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing it. So send me a text. You have my phone number. If you don't, it's 416-454-4986. Probably type in it here. So you can send me a text. I will get you connected with the Zoom link, and make sure that I just typed in my number in the Facebook text so you can have it. And we will do it together. But come on out and let's do something different for your ancestors. We'll do a Sankalp. We'll do invocations. We'll do the Yamastuti. We'll do Surya Bhagwan Namaskar. Then we'll do Tarpan. We'll do Shanti prayers. And then you will take your milk or water, what you have, and throw it in the BSM lake. We have a lake across there. BSM lake, you'll throw it there. They put fence and so up now, but that's fine. And then you come back in the mandir, you sit down. Put your thali, you have to bring your own thali in your car. You come back and sit down, and we finish up Garud Puran tomorrow morning at the temple. Please come on out, everyone, and let us finish this 3 days of Katha. Pitru Paksh finishes on Tuesday. Tuesday is Amavasya, the greatest day of Pitru Paksh, right? So do something kind on this day. Give a dan, pray, offer Tilanjali in your own way, cook some food for someone who needs it. Do something nice on this day. There is not, we look at places, we look very distant to do something good. Everybody want to feature in Africa and India and Guyana and all these kind of things. It's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But kindness can be expressed right in front of your eyes. Right here where you're living in Canada, America, or wherever you're living, there are a lot of places and people who need help. Find someone to help with your own hands, right? And let us please our ancestors. That is, Tuesday is Amavasya. And finally, Navratri starts on Wednesday. So Navratri, as usual, we have shrotas for every evening. I want to ask all of you here, if everybody sponsor one evening, we'll have to have 40 nights Navratri. Right? So what does it take to sponsor a night? A family, you make a donation to a temple, there is a set amount. You sit for puja, we engage you in abhishekam, we chant some kathas and so on, and satsang, you make it nice. Please come on out in person for Navratri. It's a big difference when you're out in person. For whatever reason, if you can't come or if you live far away and things like that, then you can do virtual sponsorships as well. Everything is online. bhavanishankarmandir.com/Navratri. When we will celebrate with you as well. So please book these events and let us have a very blessed celebration of Navratri coming up. Again, finally, I want to thank our sponsors tonight, Bhaiji Omkar and Darshani and their family, and also the entire Devgati Narayan and the extended family for all they have done and for remembering their family and friends. Also, Prakash Mulchan and Jagat Ram Prasad from their son Lachman Mulchan. Tonight we pray and offer pratana on their behalf. And in memory of Auntie Chan and Dev Singh as well, we offer prayers. Let us offer a prayer for all these families so that the pitris of their pitris can be with Bhagwan and can shower blessings. Om Anadhinidhano Deva Shankha Chakra Gadadhara Akshaye Pundari Kaksho Preta Moksha Pradurbhavam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Planat Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Prem se bolo Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. We will stand for Aarti now, everybody. And please sanitize your hands so you can have the ability to do Aarti. And after that, Pratana. यानि कानि च पापानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि च तानि सर्वाणि नश्यन्तु प्रदक्षिणां पदे पदे।
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी स्वामी शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा प्रभु बिन और न दूजा आस करूँ मैं जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूरन परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता मैं मूरख खरगामी मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति किस विधि मिलो दया में किस विधि मिलो दया में तुमको मैं घूमती। ओम जय जगदीश हरे दीन बंधु दुख हरता ठाकुर तुम मेरे स्वामी रक्षक तुम मेरे अपने हाथ उठाओ अपने शरण लगाओ द्वार बरा तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे विषय विकार मिटाओ आप हरो देवा स्वामी कष्ट हरो देवा श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ श्रद्धा प्रेम बढ़ाओ संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश तुझको अर्पण, मेरा तुझको अर्पण, ज्ञानांगे मेरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिविर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनां, सर्वे सन्तु निरामय, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः, गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। प्रेम से बोलो गणपति भगवान की, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सिया भज रामचंद्र की जय, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की, भवानी शंकर भगवान की जय, जगदम्बिका माता की जय, महाविष्णु भगवान की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय जय सीताराम। Please be seated, everyone. And those in the temple, RT will be shared to wherever you're sitting. And again, I forgot tonight, people have brought prasad, I believe. So Panditji will assist with offering prasad if you have brought prasad. And if not, please stay where you are. RT will come to you. And then as you're leaving at the door, Panditji will give you prasad. Good to see all of you. To come out and listen to Garud Puran, The Art of Dying. And hope to see you all tomorrow for Tarpanam and for finishing off our version of 3 days celebration for Garud Puran. There is also the family this evening. They order some box foods for you. So as you're leaving outside, please take some food as part of the Annadanam, as part of their family offering food to our community. So please take before you leave outside. See you all tomorrow. The Tarpan ceremony starts 9 o'clock sharp. There will only be one session. So we're hoping that you can come on time. Please, 9 o'clock sharp. Thank you.